The 7 levels of DC family explained. Level 1, Street and Niche families, Arrow family. Oliver Queen built this family with nothing but bruises, stubbornness, and a mission that grew too big for one man. His story began on a deserted island where survival turned into obsession, and that obsession followed him back to Star City. When Oliver put on the hood, he was fighting corrupt CEOs, crooked police, and politicians with deeper pockets than morals. The people drawn into his orbit didn't show up because of a prophecy or bloodline. They arrived because they were broken in the exact same places Oliver was. Roy Harper came first, sharp, angry, and eager to matter. Their relationship flipped between mentorship and fatherhood at a speed that would give anyone else emotional whiplash. Then came Dinah Lance, the Black Canary, who wasn't a sidekick or a trainee. She was the equal who challenged Oliver, steadied him, and sometimes walked away when the mission drowned out everything else. Over time, the roster kept shifting. Characters like Thea Queen, Emiko Queen, and Mia Smoke carried the next-gen vigilante mantle with their own motivations. Each era of the Arrow family changed the tone of the mission. Some eras felt like street warfare, others like political crusades, and through every phase, Star City was never a backdrop, but a character in the story. The kind of city where saving one block mattered more than saving the world. But as grounded as the Arrow family is, the scale naturally caps itself. Their victories reshape neighborhoods, not universes. Their threats rarely break into wider DC continuity. Even when they join Justice League missions, they feel like the specialists you call when the problem needs precision and moral grit, not heat vision. That's what makes the Arrow line so important and so niche. It's the family that feels closest to real life. Heroes with bruised knuckles and complicated friendships who save their world one rooftop at a time. Aquaman family. They live on the opposite side of the spectrum. Their stories are submerged in a kingdom that looks ancient, beautiful, and dangerous. Arthur Curry's life began divided between two worlds, a lighthouse on the surface and an ocean throne that carried centuries of old wounds. His mother, Atlanta, belonged to a royal dynasty with traditions older than most civilizations. That lineage shaped Arthur long before he ever picked up a trident. Atlantis itself is a constant test of loyalty. Every royal family member carries political weight. Mira stands as Arthur's partner and a fierce warrior from Zeeble, trained in hydrokinesis and shaped by a life of discipline, power, and leadership. Garth, once Tempest, represents the first generation of Atlantean youth stepping into hero roles. Jackson Hyde, the modern Aqualad, carries a legacy marked by magic and a complicated connection to Black Manta. Even Orm, the Ocean Master, plays his part through bitter rivalry and uneasy alliances that define Atlantis' future. The Aquaman family deals with threats that could reshape coastlines or flood continents, but their influence tends to stay underwater, huge for the DC world, yet still tucked into a specific environment. When Atlantis rises, the entire planet pays attention, but when it sinks back into its political storms and internal wars, the spotlight fades. Their strength is undeniable, their royal drama intense, and their culture rich with mythology. They remain one of DC's most self-contained dynasties, powerful, respected, and often overlooked unless the tides start moving in ways no human nation can ignore. Level 2, Compact Magic Family, Shazam family. This is one of the smallest units in DC, and that size is exactly what gives them their charm. Everything begins with Billy Batson, a kid who spent years bouncing through foster homes before a subway ride changed his entire future. One moment he was a regular teenager, the next he stood before an ancient wizard who handed him the power of myth. Saying Shazam pulled lightning from the sky, transformed him into Earth's magical champion, and placed him at the center of a legacy tied to gods and monsters. For a long time, Billy carried that burden alone. Then, the New 52 cracked the door open and turned the story into something much bigger. His foster siblings, Mary, Freddie, Eugene, Pedro, and Darla, didn't just learn about his secret. They received the same lightning, each one stepping into a magical alter ego tailored to their personality and strengths. Overnight, a house full of kids became a full squad of heroes connected by one word and one destiny. Their dynamic is unlike anything else in the DC universe. They operate out of the same living room, share homework and chores, and then switch into magical form to fight gods, demons, and creatures older than civilizations. The wizard Shazam serves as their guide, sometimes distant, sometimes stern, always carrying centuries of knowledge that shapes their path. Black Adam hovers as a permanent shadow, part rival, part warning, about what happens when that power falls into the wrong hands. Even with mythic enemies and cosmic threats, the heart of the Shazam family stays grounded in everyday life. Their victories feel big, but their world remains compact. A few kids, one home, and a power set that ties them to the oldest magic in DC. They're tight, loyal, and wildly powerful, but their story remains focused on family first and destiny second. Level 3, Mythic Warrior Dynasty, Wonder Woman / Amazon family. This one stands on a foundation older than most nations, built on myths that shaped entire eras. Their story begins on Themyscira, a hidden island forged by Greek gods to give the world a place untouched by war, corruption, and mortal chaos. For centuries, the Amazons trained as warriors, scholars, and guardians of ancient truths. Their queen, Hippolyta, set the tone for a culture that values discipline, honor, and a fierce sense of sisterhood. Diana's arrival changes everything. Sculpted from clay in some continuities or born from Hippolyta and Zeus in others, she becomes the bridge between two worlds. When Diana leaves Themyscira, she carries the weight of the Amazons' history with her. Her mission brings Amazon politics and ancient rivalries straight into modern civilization. Every major chapter in her life pulls another thread of the Amazon story into the open. Gods intervening, lost artifacts resurfacing, and ancient enemies waking up after centuries of silence. The dynasty grows beyond Diana. Donna Troy emerges as a sister forged through magic and rewritten timelines, a symbol of how Amazon identity adapts across eras. Cassie Sandsmark rises next, bringing youthful energy and divine heritage into the mix. Recently, Yara Flor stepped forward as another Amazon champion, representing a future built on new cultures and mythologies tied to Brazilian legend. What makes the Amazon family feel mythic is their scale. Their conflicts are clashes tied to divine consequences. Their weapons carry centuries of history. Their alliances and betrayals ripple through pantheons. Every Amazon carries a story shaped by training, tradition, and duty. But even with all that power, their world remains defined by responsibility. They aren't conquerors or cosmic rulers. They're protectors raised in a culture that blends history with prophecy, forming one of DC's most iconic warrior dynasties. Level 4, Legacy Mantle Family, Flash Family. This is the clearest example of how a superhero identity can evolve into a full generational dynasty. It starts in the 1940s with Jay Garrick, the original Flash whose Speed Force connection wasn't even defined yet. Jay was a college kid who inhaled hard water vapors in a lab accident and suddenly found himself running faster than sound. He set the first template: bright costume, science-based powers, and a hero who treated his city like home. Then Barry Allen arrived and changed everything. A forensic scientist struck by lightning in his lab, Barry became the modern foundation of the Flash myth. He introduced the Speed Force, turned speed into a cosmic phenomenon, and reshaped how DC handled time travel. His adventures pushed the Flash from street-level heroics into multiversal territory. Crisis on Infinite Earths marked Barry's biggest moment, when he sacrificed himself to stop the Anti-Monitor's antimatter cannon. That single act defined the next era. Wally West took the mantle after Barry's death, and this shift is what makes the Flash family special. Wally wasn't created in hindsight. He had been Kid Flash for years. His transition into the main Flash role showed real growth, responsibility, and a legacy passing forward in a way no other DC hero had achieved. By the time Wally fully embraced the role, he was redefining what the Flash could be. Becoming faster than any other speedster in the myth, the line continued expanding. Bart Allen arrived from the future as Impulse, a hyperactive descendant whose Speed Force connection ran wild. Wallace West joined later as another Kid Flash, helping shape the modern generation. Max Mercury, Jesse Quick, and others deepened the family tree, forming an entire community tied together through speed, mentorship, and time itself. Every era of the Flash family builds on the last. The mantle is an inheritance shaped by sacrifice, science, and the Speed Force, pulling them across timelines. This family turns legacy into a living, evolving force, running forward while carrying every era of the Flash behind them. The Titans family. They operate like a lightning strike that never stops branching. They began as sidekicks, kids trying to survive in the shadow of giants. But every lineup change, every crisis, every rebirth pushed them closer to becoming a family held together by shared battles instead of shared blood. And at the center of that evolution stands Nightwing. Dick Grayson didn't inherit a kingdom or a cosmic legacy, he built one. Once Batman's partner, he learned early how to carry responsibility with no room for excuses. When he stepped away from Gotham's darkness, he grew into leadership. That maturity turned him into the glue that kept an unstable group from breaking apart. The original Titans reflected that growth. Starfire's alien royalty, Cyborg's struggle between humanity and machinery, Raven's war against her father Trigon, each brought problems far heavier than their age suggested, but the team evolved by facing everything together. The Titans Tower became less of a headquarters and more of a safe zone where trauma was the common ground that brought them together. Their biggest moments sometimes were the aftermath: Raven's possession, Donna Troy's deaths and returns, Lanterns, the fractures between teammates that forged their identity. Titans' history reads like a cycle of breakups and reunions, each comeback sharper than the last. Then came the next generation. Beast Boy balancing humor with insecurity, Blue Beetle wrestling with an alien scarab that could overwrite him at any moment, Miss Martian hiding the weight of two worlds on her back. The Titans absorbed them the same way a family absorbs new siblings. Messy, loud, but undeniably loyal. When Damian Wayne stepped in as the youngest leader, the dynamic shifted again. His intensity clashed with the team's closeness, yet the Titans adapted. They've always done that. It's their signature move. What makes the Titans stand out is how their legacy stretches beyond individual members. They shaped how younger heroes learn, how they fail, and how they rebuild. So many DC families inherit power. The Titans inherited expectation. They turned that pressure into a foundation that new heroes still stand on today. Level 5. Cosmic God Dynasty. New Gods, Fourth World Family. The New Gods sit in a part of the DC universe where the stakes stretch far beyond cities, continents, or even planets. Their story begins with Jack Kirby's Fourth World, a myth cycle built on two opposing realms, New Genesis and Apocalypse. These locations function as living civilizations, each shaped by ancient war and a deep divine heritage. New Genesis carries the light, ruled by Highfather, a leader who balances power with restraint. Across the cosmic divide sits Apocalypse, a tortured world driven by Darkseid's hunger for control and the secrets of the anti-life equation. This dynasty works in bloodlines. Darkseid's family alone reads like a cosmic warning label. Kalibak's brutality, Orion's inherited fury, and figures like Graven pulling the universe toward chaos. Orion is especially complicated. He's the son Darkseid sent away as part of a political exchange meant to hold an uneasy peace. Raised on New Genesis, he carries apocalyptian rage inside a warrior trained to fight for the opposite side. His story mirrors the cosmic war itself, violent roots clashing with learned purpose. Then you have the rebels of this mythology. Mr. Miracle and Big Barda Scott Free's life began in Apocalypse hellish orphanage under Granny Goodness, where indoctrination and punishment were daily reality. His escape into freedom and his rise as the universe's greatest escape artist reshaped the family narrative. Barda, forged in the female Furies, chose loyalty to Scott instead of Darkseid. Their partnership adds something rare to the Fourth World, a sense of personal victory inside a system designed for suffering. The New Gods influence entire cosmic eras. Whenever the anti-life equation surfaces or a boom tube tears open space, the universe pays attention. Their conflicts echo through crises, multiversal shifts, and cosmic alignments that decide the fate of countless worlds. Yet they remain anchored to a single saga, a war older than most civilizations and destined to pull everyone into its orbit. This family operates at a scale where every choice stirs the universe, making them one of DC's most powerful and mythic dynasties. The Lantern Corps. They are the backbone, the closest thing the universe has to a police force. Every sector gets a protector, and for Earth alone there are multiple rings in rotation. Hal Jordan's fearless precision, Jon Stewart's military discipline, Kyle Rayner's creativity, Jessica Cruz's anxiety-hardened courage, and Guy Gardner's volcanic temperament. They don't just guard planets, they stabilize entire civilizations, negotiate with alien empires, and intervene when cosmic balance slips into chaos. But the Lantern Network only makes sense when you zoom out. The emotional spectrum turns the galaxy into a constant pulse of competing forces. The Sinestro Corps operate through fear, a structured, militarized empire that spreads its influence by breaking resistance before it forms the Blue Lanterns, amplify hope itself, creating a field that strengthens nearby Green Lanterns to near-mythic levels. The Red Lanterns burn through rage so violently that their rings replace the wearer's blood with liquid fury. Each corps reshapes space in its own way. Entire star systems have tipped into war or peace depending on which light arrives first. At the cosmic center of everything are the entities, living embodiments of each emotion. Parallax once infected Hal Jordan and nearly tore the universe apart. Ion powered Kyle Rayner during one of the most stable periods in Lantern history. The Predator, Adara, Ophidian, and the others shift the spectrum whenever they awaken. Their influence isn't symbolic. It affects gravity wells, psychic fields, and the trajectory of civilizations. When Blackest Night erupted, every corpse in the galaxy capable of holding a ring rose from the dark. When Brightest Day followed, entire worlds rebooted their destinies. Even the structure of the course tells its own story. OA was once the unquestioned command center, but the Guardians' long history of secrecy and authoritarian decisions created fractures, rogue lanterns, splinter groups, and rebellions that redefined the chain of command. The Corps have fallen apart, been rebuilt, merged, split, and resurrected across eras. Yet the idea behind the rings survives because someone, somewhere, always proves worthy. That's the true legacy of the Lantern families. They are living proof that the universe can be organized by emotion instead of chaos, and whenever a ring flies across the stars searching for a new bearer, the entire galaxy holds its breath. Because whatever comes next will reshape the map of creation. Level 6, planet-defining legacy, Superman family. Its roots sit on Krypton, a world shaped by science, philosophy, and a rigid societal structure that pushed its people ahead technologically and trapped them culturally. When Jor-El discovered Krypton was dying, he focused on one mission: preserve his son's future. That decision carried the House of El across galaxies and set up one of the most important legacies in comics. Clark arrived on Earth as an infant and grew into Superman under the guidance of Jonathan and Martha Kent, two people whose values shaped the hero millions would depend on. Once Superman establishes himself, the family expands in every direction. Kara, Zor-El, his older cousin sent to protect him, arrives after Krypton's destruction and struggles to adjust to a world her family never lived to see. Her character adds the perspective of someone who remembers Krypton and carries its culture directly. Connor Kent enters the picture as a clone created from Superman's DNA mixed with human genetics, representing another chapter of legacy, one built through science rather than lineage. John Kent extends the line again as the child of Clark and Lois, combining Kryptonian heritage with human roots in a way no other member can match. Around them are allies tied to the symbol rather than blood. Steel builds his identity through admiration for Superman's ideals, using engineering instead of super-strength. Krypto, loyal and fearless, has been part of the House of El across multiple continuities. Kenan Kong rises in China as the Superman of the new Superman program, pulling the legacy into global territory. The scale of their influence reaches far beyond Metropolis. The Superman family regularly engages threats capable of ending civilizations: Kryptonian warlords, cosmic tyrants, multiversal anomalies. Their crest becomes more than a family mark. It becomes a universal language of hope. Every era of this family shapes how the world understands heroism, sacrifice, and leadership. Their reach is enormous and their legacy stretches across worlds. The Superman family helped define what the DC universe becomes in every major age. Level 7, Goat-found family network, Bat family. This one began with one man standing in an alley, carrying a wound no training could ever close. Bruce Wayne turned that pain into purpose and built a mission around Gotham's darkest corners. Over time, that mission pulled people toward him, each one arriving with their own scars, histories, and reasons to follow the Bat. What grew from those connections became the most layered, emotionally complex, and culturally dominant family in DC history. Dick Grayson was the first to join him, a circus kid who watched his parents fall. The same way Bruce once did, Dick found a second life under the cape. He trained as the first Robin, but grew into something bigger: Nightwing. A leader who forged his own identity while staying tied to the heart of the family. Jason Todd followed, fiery and restless, shaped by Gotham's toughest streets. His death and resurrection opened some of the hardest chapters the Bat family ever faced, forcing Bruce to confront the weight of his own decisions. Tim Drake entered as the detective, the kid who figured out Batman's identity long before he wore the suit. He stabilized the family at a time when Bruce needed clarity more than strength. Then came Damian Wayne, raised by the League of Assassins and thrown into Bruce's life with a temper sharp enough to cut through steel. His journey toward becoming Robin showed how the family could reach even the most conditioned hearts. Barbara Gordon became Oracle after the events of The Killing Joke, turning tragedy into expertise that shaped the entire network. Her intel, strategy, and leadership turned the Bat family from a group of vigilantes into a coordinated force. Characters like Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown pushed the family into new generations, each one redefining what the Bat symbol could mean. The network kept expanding beyond the Wayne circle. Duke Thomas brought meta-human instincts into the mix. Kate Kane forged her own Bat legacy with military precision. Even the extended ecosystem, Signal, Batwing, Huntress, Spoiler, shows how Gotham creates heroes who orbit the same gravitational pull. What sets the Bat family apart is emotional history. Their story runs on mentorship, conflict, forgiveness, and rebuilding. They've fought each other, saved each other, and rebuilt themselves through some of DC's toughest arcs. The Gotham setting amplifies everything. Its alleys, corruption, and criminal empires turn the family into a long-term response to a city that never stays quiet. Their influence spreads through comics, animation, films, and games more than any other group in DC. The Bat family shapes storylines, spins off into their own teams, and produces some of the most iconic character arcs in modern superhero storytelling. The result, a massive found family network built from trauma, growth, and loyalty, forming the most successful and far-reaching family in the entire DC universe. And that's it. So now to you, which of these DC families do you think truly shaped the universe the most? Comment down below, leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos like this one.